Greetings, candidates, and welcome to the lesson. The subject is leadership and management. In today's lesson, we will begin the study of a new topic, which is known as environmental analysis. Now, the syllabus allows us to cover 4 or 5 areas in the chapter environmental analysis. The first one is micro environment. The second one is macro environment. Number 3, internal environment. Number 4, external environment. And lastly, tools used in environmental analysis. Tools used in environmental analysis. These are the areas that you should expect to cover under the topic environmental analysis. 1, microenvironment. Number 2, macro environment. Number 3, internal environment. Number 4, external environment. Then lastly, tools used in environmental analysis. We shall be studying tools like the SWOT analysis, the PEST analysis, the BCG. There are many tools. The syllabus is not specific on the number of tools that we need to cover. We'll try the much we can to cover the main tools that are used in environmental analysis. So, candidates, welcome to the lesson. Welcome to today's lesson. And before we study microenvironment, I think it's important for us to define environmental analysis. What is environmental analysis? Candidates, environmental analysis is a process of identifying the relevant factors that have a direct or indirect impact on the effective and efficient functioning of a business. It is what? A process. A process of doing what? Identifying the relevant factors. It is the process of identifying the relevant factors that have a direct or indirect impact on the effective and efficient functioning of a business. It is the process of identifying the relevant factors that have a direct or indirect impact or effect on the efficient and effective functioning of a business. Efficient functioning of a business. That's the meaning of environmental analysis. And candidates, in other words, environmental analysis is just a strategic tool. It is a strategic tool. It is a process to identify all the external and the internal elements which can affect the organization's performance. And the process entails assessing the level of threat or opportunity the factors might present, and so on. So the evaluations candidates are then later translated into decision-making process. So the environment is analyzed, not just for the sake of analyzing, but so that the information that is gathered through environmental analysis can be incorporated in decision-making. Can be done what? Can be incorporated in the decision-making process. And the analysts, or rather the analysis, environmental analysis, we can say helps align what we call strategy or strategies with the firm's environment. A business is an open system, meaning it can affect the environment or the environment can affect the business. It's an open system. No business is an island. A business relies on external forces. External forces also affect the business. So the purpose for environmental analysis is so that that analysis can help the company strategies to be aligned with the environment. So that's the meaning of environmental analysis, and it can either be internal or external. It can either be internal environmental analysis or external environmental analysis, as we shall be studying as we progress. Now let us identify the characteristics the concept and characteristics of environmental analysis. What are the characteristics of environmental analysis? Characteristics of environmental analysis. Now, candidates, the concept of environment is often used in strategic management, and it may refer to internal forces or external forces. Internal forces or external forces. External forces lie outside the organization, whereas internal forces lie within the organization. So the external environment, we can say, consists of all those factors or forces or institutions or groups which lie outside an organization and interact with the organization either directly or indirectly. Either directly or indirectly. So what are some of the characteristics of environmental analysis? All right, characteristics of environmental analysis. Or we can even just first check the characteristics of the environment. Characteristics of environment. Number one, let's begin with the characteristics of the environment. We are talking about the environment. Environment can either be internal or external. Internal forces or internal forces. So the first characteristic is that of complexity. Complexity, from the word complex. The environment, candidates, consists of several factors and forces which interact with each other. And the greater the number and the diversity of environmental forces, the higher the degree of their complexity. If there are many forces, either internal forces as well as external forces, the more the forces are, the more complex the environment of the organization will be. If a company is forced with many forces, competition, many competitors, there are many suppliers, there are many debtors, there are many laws to comply with, there are many challenging economic factors, legal factors, technological factors. All those forces, the more they are, the more they interact with each other, the greater or the higher the complexity. The greater the number of forces and the diversity of environmental forces, the higher is the degree of complexity. We may have a company experiencing or being faced with few environmental forces. If the number of these factors and the diversity of the environmental forces is lower, then the degree of their complexity will also be low. Complexity. The second characteristic of the environment is dynamism. From the word dynamic, dynamism. Dynamism. Candidates, the environment is dynamic. Why? Because it changes continuously. And the rate of change in the environment is fast and unpredictable. When the rate of change is high and variable, the environment becomes what we call volatile. Volatile or turbulent. Volatile. Turbulent. Okay? Dynamism. Violent. Volatile. Turbulent. Dynamic. The environment is continuously changing. Nothing is static. The laws are changing. Economic factors are changing. The competition is increasing. So we're saying here that the environment is dynamic and it changes continuously. And that change can be very fast as well as unpredictable. And when that rate is very high and variable, the environment becomes volatile or turbulent. That's the second feature of the environment in which a business operates. Number 3, multifaceted, or what we can say that the environment has many dimensions. Okay? Many faces, multifaceted. There are many dimensions to it. So the company can shape and observe different characters that are prevalent in the environment. And the company can also choose to do what? To observe a particular change or latest development in the business. And it may be viewed differently by different observers in this organization. So such things are frequently seen when development happens. Multifaceted. There are many dimensions to it. Company A may interpret a scenario differently from company B. All right? So there are many angles to the environment. That's a feature of the environment, multifaceted, or we can say there are many dimensions. The environment can also have far-reaching impact. Far-reaching impact or effect. The environment can have far-reaching effects or impact. Candidates, environment impact is essential. It is an essential ingredient for the company to study changes and also take appropriate decisions at appropriate times. And if the company neglects to take an appropriate action at the right time, it creates an impact on the organization. And the survival, the growth, the profitability, the development of an organization depends critically in terms of what we will be looking at later on, macro and micro factors of the business environment. And these environmental impacts may bring new dimensions to the business. So these are some of the characteristics of the environment. The environment is complex, the environment is dynamic, the environment is multifaceted, the environment has far-reaching impact. Far-reaching impact. So candidates, let's now shift our attention to micro environmental analysis, having defined environmental analysis, and we've laid out some of the characteristics of the environment. Let's proceed to micro environment. Micro environment or micro environmental analysis. Now, candidates, micro environment of a business enterprise refers to the study of the small area. Okay? It is the study of the small area, what we call the immediate periphery of the business organization. Periphery of the organization. Microenvironment or microenvironmental analysis, we can say, is the study of the small or the immediate periphery of the organization. Microenvironment, candidate, directly and regularly influences the business organization. And it analyzes the following factors. Microenvironmental analysis analyzes the following factors. Number one is human resource. These are employees, the management of a firm. It analyzes their characteristics and how they are organized in the firm. Okay? When you are carrying out microenvironmental analysis, you are analyzing the immediate forces or factors. The first important factor is human resource, the employees of the firm. You analyze their characteristics, their skills, and all that. Number two is the customer base. Microenvironment analyzes what we call the customer base. It analyzes the customer base of the firm, which includes the major and the minor clients of the business. Three is growth of finance. The growth of finance, the financial aspect. The financial aspect of the firm. 4, identity of suppliers. Microenvironmental analysis analyzes the identity of the suppliers of raw materials and the development of the supply chain network. 5, local community. When you are carrying out microenvironmental analysis, you may want to look at the local community. All right, the local community of the farm and the location of the farm. The local community, the community surrounding the organization. 6, you can mention the competition, the direct competition from competitors, direct competition. It analyzes the direct competition, the present competitors, the competitors of the farm and their performance in the industry. So these are some of the factors that are to be analyzed when carrying out microenvironmental analysis. This is just the operating environment. Okay? Microenvironment is the operating environment, which consists of an organization or a company's immediate environment that affects the performance of an organization. Customers, human resource, competitors, finances, suppliers, local community, direct competition, and so on. Customers, candidates, you know them. These are the people who pay money to acquire the organization's products and services. And an organization's survival depends upon its ability to identify its customers and meet their needs. And the need to meet customers' requirements, therefore, influences the organization's interactions with the competitors and suppliers. That's why we said a characteristic of environment is this one of multifaceted. When analyzing the customer base, it will affect, you cannot analyze the customer base or customers without considering competition. The need to meet customers' requirements influences organizations' interactions with the competitors and also the suppliers. The more you increase your customer base, the more you will need suppliers, the more you will need finances to buy supplies or raw materials. All right? Another factor we've mentioned is the competitors. These are the business firms which compete with the organization for resources. An organization that fails to meet the needs of its customers as effectively as its competitors cannot survive for a long time. Competition, all right? I also mentioned suppliers. These are the people who supply the organization with the inputs, because a company must acquire raw materials, must acquire labor in order to produce products and services. So it is essential for a firm to have ongoing relationship with the suppliers. Another important factor I didn't mention here is investors. We also have investors. These are the owners, these are the creditors who provide finance to an organization. And an organization can obtain financial resources from shareholders, from debenture holders, from banks, from financial institutions, and so on. Investors. So there are many factors we can talk about candidates including marketing intermediaries. We can have even marketing intermediaries here. Marketing intermediaries. Market intermediaries. These are the agents, the wholesalers, the retailers who distribute and sell the organization's products and services. So in brief, that's what we can talk about micro-environmental analysis. Micro-environmental analysis, I've defined it as the study of the small or intermediate periphery of the organization. Let's contrast that with the macro environment. Macro environmental analysis. Now, candidates, macro environmental analysis, macro environmental analysis, candidates, studies the overall issues of a farm and its broader dimension. Studies overall issues and a company's broader dimension. Broader dimension. Remember, in micro, we said that it's a study of the intermediate peripheral. Here we are saying macro environmental analysis studies the overall issues and the broader dimension. That means the general environment, which is composed of dimensions in the broader society that influence an industry and the farm in that industry. Broader issues that do not just affect the farm alone. No, it affects, these are the factors that affect all the farms within the industry. All right? They influences the industry and the players within that industry. And principally it consists of the economical forces, technological forces, political forces, legal forces, sociocultural forces, and so on. Political forces, political factors, economical factors, social cultural factors, technological forces, legal factors. It analyzes political forces, the area of technology, nature of competition, economic forces, culture of people, the taste of the people, and so on. It studies the overall issues and the company's broader dimension. It studies the general forces within an industry and the players affected within that industry. Legal factors, and so on. Okay, so candidates, legal factors or the legal segment or political factors include laws, regulations, government policy, and so on. The sociocultural forces include, it regulates the values, the morals of the society, and so on. And it's concerned with the society's attitudes and cultural values. And candidates, because attitudes and values form the cornerstone of a society, they often drive what we call demographic, economic, political, and technological conditions and changes. Demographic conditions. Now, demography candidates is concerned with the population size, the age, the structure, the geographic distribution, the ethnic mix, income distribution, and so on. Demography. So when studying the macro environment, those are some of the factors that are considered. Economical factors, the interest rates, all right? Check the interest rate. You look at things like the expenditure of the government. When studying technology, you look at the state of technology at hand. What technologies are emerging, which technologies the competitors are using. So you carry out macro environmental analysis. We've said it studies the overall issues. These issues affect not just a specific company, but all companies in the industry. We may even add global trends or global segment. The global segment candidates includes the relevant global markets, the existing markets that are changing. It may include the analysis of the important international political events, the critical cultural and institutional characteristics of global markets. And we know, candidates, that globalization of business markets creates both opportunities and challenges for firms. For example, firms can identify and enter valuable new markets, global markets. In addition to contemplating opportunities, firms should also recognize the competitive threats of such markets. And therefore, firms cannot directly control the general environment segments and elements. You cannot, as an individual firm, control the global market. And therefore, the successful companies gather information that is required to understand all these factors. If a company is to be successful, then it has to carry out environmental analysis, macro environmental analysis on the general factors that affect all the businesses, so that the company can get information that is required to understand each of these segments, understand the implications for selecting and implementing of appropriate strategies. That's why it's important to carry out macro environmental analysis. And this, candidates, is just an introduction. We will be studying all these forces in detail when we'll be looking at the SWOT analysis, the PESTEL analysis, the gap analysis, and the other various tools that you are required to know in this subject. I'll bring the lesson to a close. Remember, in this lesson, we introduced the topic environmental analysis. We defined environmental analysis as the process of identifying the relevant factors that have a direct or indirect impact on the efficiency or the effectiveness of the performance of a business. We went further to discuss some of the characteristics of business environment. We said that business environment is complex, is dynamic, is multifaceted, it has far-reaching impact. All right? Then we've defined micro-environmental analysis. We've outlined some of the factors that are analyzed under the micro-environmental analysis. We've said that micro-environmental analysis is the study of the small or the immediate peripheral items or factors of an organization, which include the human resource. These are employees and management, customers, finances, suppliers, local community, direct competition, investors, marketing intermediaries, etc. Then we went further in this lesson to define macro-environmental analysis. Macro-environmental analysis, we say that is the study of the overall issues and the study of the company's broader dimensions or segments, which included the political factors, economic factors, technological factors, the global factors, the legal factors, socio-cultural factors, and so on. Now, as we close the lesson, allow me to give you an assignment. Assignment 1, define A, environmental analysis, B, micro-environmental analysis, C, macro-environmental analysis. 2, describe 4 characteristics of business environment. Thank you for your time. I hope to meet you in our next session where we continue to gain knowledge in environmental analysis. Bye-bye.